when we were at Univision, we started taking Spanish classes, and then, the professor was Colombian, so we started picking up the Colombian accent.
Right.
And then
by nature, not that we were mocking it, because that was another thing. I was self-conscious. I don't want to feel like we're mocking an accent. It's just it sticks to me,
right? Right.
So when we got on camera, they're like, "Why do you guys sound like that?" And we're like, "We're talking proper, right? Like you're really trying here." And they're like, "No, we like that other accent that you had."
That was you. That was like part of who you were. The fact that you had.
So scratch that, revert. Go back to what you were. If we get to CBS, same thing. You're too Spanish. You got to sound a little bit more like neutral American. So, okay, I'll figure that one out. We moved to Miami. When we have our own show, you guys sound too New York. Switch up the accent. Yes. We come back from Miami.
You guys are all messed up at this point.
You sound too Miami. Bring back the New York accent. So accents have always been the subject of our okay,
where are we?
What are we doing?
Let's figure out where we are and then switch the mode.
But was there ever a moment where you felt so frustrated where you wanted to quit? Welcome to Growing Up Latina. I am your host, Alyi V, and I am super excited. This is the first time where I have not only one, but two guests on Growing Up Latina podcast. Give it up for Lulu y Lala. What is going on?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
I feel like this is going to be so much fun. Growing Up Latino. Well, it was interesting. It was. It still is.
It's always a growing process, and it's Latino family, so there's a lot of
drama, a lot of
drama. No way. There's drama.
And a lot of happy, funny moments that probably most people won't believe, but it's true.
It is true. Okay, let's start from the very beginning. Where are you guys from? Where's your parents from?
We are Cuban-Salvadorian.
Our mom is Cuban. Our dad is from El Salvador. We grew up in North Bergen, New Jersey. And
born and raised there. Always had family in Miami, so that's like a second home to us.
Okay.
And we feel 50% Salvadorian, 50% Cuban, and 100% American.
Yes. Talk to me about the culture. Let's start with the Cuban side.
Well, the Cuban culture for us, it's always been very, it's Caribbean, right? La salsa and merengue. And
loud.
Very loud. All of my aunts talking over one another when Christmas and Thanksgiving were around, or any family get together,
barbecue.
It's always just loud.
And it's fun. And my mom, she's Cuban. She came from Cuba when she was only 13. So hearing the stories of how they were raised in Cuba and different things, how it was over there, and then just reminiscing and hearing the stories and them finishing each other's sentences. That was always fun. And then the salsa dancing and las croquetas and, all that. And then
also, my mom was also raised very old school.
Very old school tradition.
Yeah. We'll get into that in just a minute. And on my dad's side, it's more passive. We still have a lot of fun. It's las pupusas,
cumbia. And it's just they're fun too. Every time we've been to El Salvador a few times, I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And every time we go, the country keeps getting better and better and safer.
Nice.
And we're just very close to all of our aunts and cousins and on both sides.
So when you guys come together, though, what's this party like?
When you put the Salvadorian and the Cuban families together,
it's one big party. Everyone is just dancing and getting along and telling stories, and I just love it. We're so blessed to have so many aunts and uncles, and then because of it, we have so many cousins. We're never alone.
Right.
We're never alone. And I do want to say that women dominate
in our family.
Both sides.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy, and I feel bad for my guy cousins. They're all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But it's just so much women around us and so much empowerment, and I just love it. It's just like Lala said, it's a big party.
One big party.
So you guys, you were born in Jersey.
We were born in Jersey.
In New Jersey. Okay, so what was that like growing up Latina in New Jersey?
I think it was fun. Like we went to school and we had everything. We had white, black, Asian, Indian,
What
Hispanic.
school did you go to?
North Bergen High School.
North Bergen. Okay.
High school. Yeah.
So it was very normal for us to be like, we were so diverse, and it was fun because you also learned different cultures and you kind of knew how to like just be with everyone. So I feel kind of bad for those
who didn't have that experience.
Opportunity. Yeah.
And I feel like that's why sometimes you see the
disconnect.
The disconnect with a lot of cultures and a lot of people because they just don't know or they didn't have that experience. We were blessed to be in a community where you had everything. And so we never grew up with that sense of like, you know, what you see nowadays, where the disconnect.
Right.
Like, we understood everyone's culture and how everyone was raised.
But the area where we grew up, it's like city suburban.
Yeah.
It's not really city, but it's not suburban where the house next to you is maybe like a mile away. All of our neighbors, we all get along. We all look out for one another. When one's on vacation, we make sure to like water the plants or take out the trash or make sure that
That's very nice.
It is. And I loved where we grew up. And, you know, my parents are still there and it's home.
All right. Now let's take it even further back. Because technically, one of you guys were born first, right?
I mean, I was born first by 20 minutes.
By 20 minutes.
That's almost a half an hour. So she needs to, sometimes she doesn't understand that. She needs to listen to her elder.
Because technically you're the older sister.
Yeah.
Whatever. I let her think that. I let her think that. You know what's funny is that my mom, both my parents didn't know they were going to have twins. They thought it was going to be a big boy. So then she pops out. And then the doctor tells my mom, "Well, hold up because there's another one in there." And 20 minutes later, I came out.
That's insane.
So back in the day,
you didn't have gender reveal parties.
No,
you didn't have any of those things.
It wasn't like a big deal to like go get a sonogram or, you know, the echo. And so my mom only got the echo done and our heartbeats were going at the same time.
Yeah.
So funny.
So I was a surprise, maybe the extra one, fashionably late to the world, maybe the mistake. I don't know. But
You're not the mistake. I like fashionably late. Okay. And then how did you guys get Lulu y Lala?
So identical
I love
twins.
this, by the way. This is amazing. I love
Identical twins normally have their own language, right?
And we are identical twins. We came from the same sack, the one egg split, and we shared the
and
thing.
so it wasn't English, it wasn't Spanish. It was like some type of gibberish that twins
like actual gibberish, or like is this like connecting of the minds? Like
no,
what is
it was
this?
like
a language that we
invented.
Only you guys understand.
Yeah, only we understood each other.
Our dad actually recorded it, and listening back to it sounds weird.
Our older sister is the one that was able to pick up on it. Like, she kind of knew, like, certain words meant this because she, you know, we'd all play together, and there's only a 2-year difference there.
And so her name is Lily, right? Liliana.
Liliana.
They called her Lily for short. And so hearing that and then having our own twin language, I named her Lala.
And I named her Lulu. And
so you guys named each other?
Yeah. And ever since then, it has stuck. I never call her real name, Marianella.
I hate how she says my name.
Right?
I hate it. Like, and I never call her Marissa. It's just weird.
Yeah. Only when I'm mad or when I'm trying to piss her off, it's like Marianela.
Yeah. Only like to bother each other, we'll do that. I don't know why we do that.
And do you guys bother each other a lot? Like, is this like your thing? Do you guys pick on each other?
I feel like
I'm trying to understand the dynamic here.
When we were younger, I feel like we would do certain things on purpose to like get under each other's skin.
Like, we do this thing, like, we'd just look at each other and I'd be like,
and we'd stare at each other
forever until she would be like, stop. And that was our day. Like, we just do dumb stuff like that.
When did you guys like first notice that you guys like resemble each other? You guys are twins. You guys like there has to be a moment where it's like, oh, we do look alike. Or maybe you don't think you look alike, but other people were like, oh my God, you guys, you know.
It's funny. I don't think I've ever been asked that question.
Yeah, me either.
I think growing up, since we've always seen each other, we never thought of that.
Like, being a twin is normal for us. So we're used to I'm used to seeing someone that supposedly looks like me. Right. I don't think I look like
in your eyes, you guys don't look like one
at all.
I think it's when I got to high school that we were at the time the only twins. As freshmen, we came in as the only twins. Yeah. That's when I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. People are staying because we're twins. But throughout elementary school, we were so shy. Like, I was so shy. And also in elementary school, they would split us up.
Really?
Because we would not socialize with anybody else. I didn't think, I'm like, why do I have to have friends? I have my sister.
Right.
So we were very timid growing up, like very, very, very timid to the point where we would cry to go to school. My mom had to come in with us, tell the teacher we were nervous, and that eventually we would stop crying. It's actually
And you guys are
ridiculous.
like this big radio personality.
Yeah.
That's why it's so weird.
So many people tell us we never thought you guys would have been doing what you're doing because we were so...
Baby cries.
Yeah, we were babies, little babies.
And very extremely like... I think we even had to be taken to like during school. The teacher suggested my mom take us to see a psychiatrist or
psychologist to see why we would cry
and why we were the way that we were. We
very
were
sensitive too,
sentimental.
Okay.
But it was just us being kids with a good heart. Eventually, we grew out of it.
Yeah.
We still have a good heart.
Yeah, you guys still have a good heart.
But I think it was high school is when I'm like, all right, yeah.
I think in high school we realized the attention, because we never paid any attention to us being twins.
Yeah.
We didn't really think it was a big deal because for us, like Lala said, it was normal.
Yeah.
And so when we got to high school, we did start noticing like, why are you dressing had a problem with us dressing the same. And we couldn't understand it. But why does it bother you so much? Mm-hmm. And so we decided in high school to dress different. So that we wouldn't make other people uncomfortable. And then we got to...
But wait, hold on. Let's take it back because I was telling you off camera, I have a sister who we are not twins, but you look at us and we look like twins, except we have different hair colors. She's a brunette. So my mom would intentionally dress us alike. And I would be furious.
You hated it.
I absolutely disliked it.
It was the opposite
to the point that as an adult, I had identity issues. Like, oh my God, I like the same thing Jessica likes. I like the same, like I couldn't figure out what was my favorite color, because I felt like I was always kind of paired. So one of my main questions was, how then do you differentiate like what you like versus what you like? And,
So here's the thing.
Is that like a weird question?
No, it's not. It's actually a question we've been asked before. And to us, it's quite funny because again, it's normal for us to be twins, and we actually the type of twins that like to be together. We like to dress the same, and we happen to like the same things. But I never in my life ever thought, like, I like my own certain things too. So I never thought like, oh, I have to like what she likes. She has to like what I like, and it's got to be like very robotic, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We never had that.
No, and also our parents never forced us to dress the same. I think that's the opposite experience.
Yeah. Right.
They, gave us liberty. And so in high school, we decided to dress different so that other people wouldn't feel weird. Right. And then once we got to college, we're like, what are we doing dressing for other people? If we like to dress the same, then why are we changing who we are to please other people? Right. So we said, screw it. We're going to start dressing the same.
Because we like to. There are days where it's like, no, I don't want to look like you, or no, I don't want to feel like wearing that. I'm bloated. I don't want to wear that pant. And we'll be like, okay, cool. Like, there's no hard feelings.
So when you go shopping,
we buy double. Like,
you buy double. Okay,
I'll buy double.
Okay.
But I always felt very like an individual. I never have felt like, in order for me to be me, I need her. Like, no, I am myself, and she's an extension of it, but I am myself and she is herself. I don't know if I'm explaining.
No, that makes sense.
It's the people outside who have tried to like question our identity, like, but who are you? And I'm like, I know who I am.
Right.
I don't think you do.
Right.
But they try to confuse us.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, there was a point where we were like, who are we? Like, who are we? But for the most part, it's like, yeah, we dress the same and we do the same. We work together.
We live together. But
how's that dynamic working together?
Working together
is fun.
Depending on where we're talking about. So when we first started in radio, we were always co-hosting, right?
Okay.
And so being a co-host, you're normally being led by your host.
Right. So we know when to go in. We know the roles to play. When we finally got our own show, we were leading ourselves, and we didn't know that experience. So we had to learn how to trust each other in a whole different aspect when it came to work. And there was a lot of trial and error. We would argue a lot because many times I felt she was bossing me around, or maybe she felt I was
rambling on.
So It took some time to learn to be like, okay, no, these are the roles that we have to play. Neither one of us is trying to be the lead here, but this is it. This is what it is. I have to trust her. She has to trust me.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of
arguments because you know, living together and being sisters is one thing, and then now take that hat off and put work mode into it. It's a whole different dynamic, and so. It was, I want to say the first 6 months of us having our own show, it was a constant battle inside
like you
the
guys
studio.
had to learn each other.
We had to learn each other, and
Trust
like I remember getting so mad. I like left the studio and I would cry, and I'm like, why are we
mean to each other? But because we didn't understand.
So
it was a growing process.
But wait, where does the other sister, your older sister, fall in line in this? Like when she's like, what is that dynamic like?
Okay,
because clearly you guys are close, right? You guys work together.
We're close with Lily as well. And she is the one that
she knows
always,
us best, I feel.
When she feels that we need to get grounded, she will ground us real quick. And we're very humble. Like we don't let the entertainment business get to us. But there are some times where if she sees that we're like literally fighting too much or we're not seeing eye to eye, she'll come in and be like, "Listen, girls,
snap out of it.
She's the referee.
She's the referee. She's like, "What's going on here? Who do you think you are?" Like that's it. And she'll call us out.
And I also like to give her credit because growing up, being the sister of the twins was pretty difficult for her.
Yeah, to navigate.
And we didn't understand growing up. It wasn't until I saw the Jonas Brothers documentary.
Yes.
Where I'm like, oh my God, I think she felt like Kevin felt. Like we were putting her to the side and it wasn't that. But we never took into consideration
her feelings and how maybe she must have felt like, you know, always being the twin sister and she was the older one. But I always wanted to be like my older sister. She's the tall one. She's the model. She's got the long hair. She's very beautiful, smart, intelligent, and she's just very stylish. So we were always trying to be like, Lily, what do we wear to this event? Like, should we wear these boots or that boot? What do you think?
Yeah, so, she's the one that we come to when we need some help and advice with everything. So.
And then the brother, where does your brother
Our brother is the oldest. He
must be like all these females.
Very protective, of course. We're the babies, and protective of my older sister too.
When the boyfriends would come around, he would be like grilling.
Well, he wants the best for us. So as a man, you know, guys know guys. So he just wants the best.
Right.
And hopes that the guy that we're with has the best intentions for us.
He would play with us a lot, you know. He's much older than we are, so he'd like pick us up and throw us in the air and spin us. Like it was just a lot of fun.
He says that he does not have social media, but he knows.
He has a dummy account.
Something,
he
always
sees it.
checking.
He's watching.
Yeah.
He is.
Did you guys have like a quinceañera or anything?
We didn't. We didn't have a quinceañera.
Did you guys ever want one?
Not really. Like
I just feel like growing up, you know, we lived very humble lives, and so sometimes money wasn't always there, and I just we como que yo me di cuenta, like I could tell, okay, you know, where we are on the financial aspect. Maybe this month is not good, but I never cared for a quinceañera.
No. And we had so many barbecues, like just get-togethers that like it didn't feel like it's something that we needed.
Yeah,
like I was okay with it.
And
like,
my mom would
let's go to the
throw,
beach
like,
instead. Parties. That's it.
Yeah, mommy would always throw like little parties, like at the end of the school or maybe at the beginning of the school. So there was always little parties going on that we never felt like we needed.
Like it wasn't necessary.
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
Save that for the wedding. You know what I mean?
I know. And then growing up, I always wanted one. I'm like, Mom, please. And she was like, no, we don't have it. We can't do it. And I'm like, but I want one. What I was gonna ask, what about school for you guys? What was that like in terms of like finding the career path? Because how do we get to where we are now?
So
do you wanna?
I love this.
School. Again, we were very shy. So it wasn't until like junior year where we kind of bloomed out of our little shell and started like, oh, okay, growing into our bodies and kind of like being more outgoing and wanting to be part of the bowling team, which is what we were on.
And then such nerds.
We always used to dance though, right? So throughout all, we were very quiet, but we would dance.
I'm going to take it all the way back. When we were in the 3rd grade, again, we didn't speak to anybody. Very shy. But when the school had like a cultural awareness show, that's where we were like, we're not shy at all. We would get on that stage and we would dance. Whatever you guys need, we'll do on stage.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was something in you guys, a fire that ignited.
Right. Yeah. And then when we would get back to the classroom,
quiet.
Mute.
Really?
Yeah. So we also started dancing. We danced for about 10 years. And so that really helped us kind of like get out of our shell
and learn to like be out there. So when we went to college, we're like, you know what, we've done the dancing for so long. Let's do something else. And that's where we started taking classes for like media production, radio production, TV, and all that. And we liked it.
We always thought that television was so cool. It's like a box and there's people inside of it and they're acting. I found it fascinating.
Was there a certain moment or a show that you remember watching where you're like, I want to be like that? I remember for me it was Sábado Gigante.
Don Francisco.
Yes. Oh my God, that's what I said. For
Sábado
me,
Gigante was
that
a big
was my
thing,
show.
You know,
Like
every Saturday.
And then
that was my show.
Do you remember Siempre Domingo?
No.
Siempre Domingo,
that was another big show where the stars would. It was kind of like the American Idol of the time, where
if you were in that show,
you were made it.
Your career, And then there was, of course, like the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yes,
I wanted to be there. I wanted to be part of the Mickey. I wanted to have the ears
incorporated.
I wanted to do that, even though deep down I knew I was shy. But I would look at it and I'm like, I think I could do this. I can do this. And so then we started interning in college. We didn't wait till our senior year.
We started immediately.
What was your first intern?
Asylum for the University Network.
Okay.
TUN basically competed with MTVU.
TUN stands for the University Network.
Okay. And so that's really where I got my experience in interviewing and doing press junkets and red carpets, because I did not know what the hell I was doing. I remember the first time the producer's like, hey, we're flying you to LA to cover a press junket with, who was my first? I think it was Clive Owen. I'm straight out of college. Like, it's my first year. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
We didn't know what we were doing. And I would do the red carpet. So I remember like very shy still. And I see all these camera people that have had years of experience, E-Entertainment and
Access
Channel
Hollywood
4 and all these people. And they have like very professional, their producer and their mic. And I'm here, this little college girl with a hat on, a little camera that's falling apart.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to compete against them. But it's the only way to learn is to actually throw yourself in there and get that experience.
Absolutely.
And I shot from the hip, and I'm like, well, if this doesn't go well, then it's a learning experience. And then, I would just see, I would observe a lot. I think by observing, you really pick up on little things for here and there.
Right.
And that was really our first
step into the entertainment world, where we got that experience. And then after that internship ended, we went with Univision. So we wanted MTV. We're like, Univision? I don't want to do Univision. I want to be in the cool crowd. I want to be with MTV and TRL, and that's fun. But, we didn't have that chance. So we started with Univision, and that's where I really got to, like, see how a newscast is produced. I was always that intern that was just there. I would come in on my days off. Do you need something? Who needs coffee? I'll get it.
I was part of the promotions department interning. She was doing marketing, I think.
Yeah.
But we were like, no, I want to see like the behind the scenes of how everything's how is a newscast put together? I wanted to see all of it. So we, like she said, would come in earlier, sometimes with the newscasters at 5 a.m, just to see how.
That's dedication right there.
And how the weather anchor would do his preparation for it, and just how events, how it was just amazing to me and fun. And then it was all over, and we're like, great, now what do we do?
And that is where Nuestra Belleza Latina happened.
Yes.
That show kicked off at Univision in 2007.
It was the first one ever.
Now, they were like, why don't you guys try out? We were like, number one, our Spanish is not great. It was very broken.
Very. We didn't have enough vocabulary to be able to defend ourselves and say what we wanted to say.
What did that do for your confidence? Because for me, I always felt very like timid. Like I felt like people would say, oh, you're Puerto Rican, you don't know how to speak Spanish. Puerto Ricans don't speak Spanish.
So it's funny because I never even saw it that way. I'm like, I saw it as a joke. Like, I know Spanish, I understand it when you speak it to me, but trying to say it back to you, I have to like really take my time and put the words together. But I always thought as a like, well, this is fun. Like Selena, you know, I'm very excited. That's I'm like, I'll pull it off that way.
We actually were like very adamant when they told us, and they kept telling us, no, try out. And we were like, no, like we're not even, we had the college weight on us as well.
College weight.
Yeah, you know, you always gain like the 10 pounds. So in camera ads.
At that point, we're like, what do we have to lose? Let's just see what happens. And if we never thought we were going to make it. We just knew. So we went
you guys
in there,
just tried it just to see. Just as a joke, like, let's just see.
Right. And also, we wanted to see how all this casting thing was put together and, again, learn.
Right.
And so when they tell us, you made it to Miami,
we're like, woo! I can't believe it. We did it.
So you guys went in there with zero expectations.
Zero expectations.
But then when we did get in, then the pressure was on because they were like, you have to lose 15 pounds in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And you better make sure that you can have a full conversation.
In Spanish. And so we lost 15 pounds.
Very unhealthy.
In 3 weeks. And we tried our best to learn as much Spanish and soltar la lengua, blah, 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 you know, because sometimes it's like...
It's hard.
What were you doing? Like telling your friends and your family, just speak to me in Spanish?
Reading the newspaper in Spanish with a pencil.
And our dad would make us say stuff. Like, she had a hard time saying newspaper in Spanish, Pedro... Look at me. Periódico. And he was like, say it again, and again, and again, and again. And he would record us. So at the time, it was very annoying, but I appreciate it now that he did that.
When we were actually in Miami doing Nuestra Belleza Latina, that's where I noticed how a reality show is put together. And I could tell right off the back, like, okay, I know who they're eyeballing. The girls, I think, in the house were so concentrating on to win, whereas Lala and I, we already knew we weren't going to make the next round, so we were
like,
just
let's make the connections, talk to the producers, talk to the camera guys,
making our networking,
right?
Get their names, and that way later on we could reach out to them, and like that was our tactic, and it worked. We did not make it. We did not make it to the show.
We were eliminated within the week. But then they called us back. Like Univision Network called us back and said, hey, we want you to be correspondents for Gordi Flaca about the show that you were just kicked out of. So we were like, is this a joke? Like, please don't toy with my emotions.
We took Spanish classes with this Colombian guy who was very great. You know, he had a lot of patience and really tried to teach us as much as he could in the short amount of time. And then we were correspondents. We did that for a year for Gordi Flaca, and it was a lot of fun. We got to travel and meet different people.
And we got to do, you know, Premio Lo Nuestro, Premio Juventud, the Latin Billboard Awards. It was a great experience, and we learned a lot on how to put a package together and write our own stuff and understand you have 3 seconds. Get everything you have to say, and
going live on you know, network television. You know, if you mess up,
a lot of pressure.
It was, but we loved it, and then it was over. And at that point, we had quit college and we had quit our job, so we had nothing. We had to start from scratch.
So wait, where do you go? So you have nothing. So what happens?
Well, what happens
what's that moment?
Mom upset because she really wanted us to get that degree.
Okay.
But I don't think she understood that in this business, you don't get second chances. So if you're given an opportunity, you take it.
You have to go, no matter what. Because
you can always go back to school. We have
You can always get a job. You can always... No, but I get it. You can always go back to school. You can get a job.
At that point, since we didn't have school, we quit our full-time job. Univision said, listen, girls, we don't have anything here for TV for you, but you could start in promotions
in New York,
in radio,
for the radio station. So we're like, all right, I mean, let's take it.
What else
do we have to lose? Yeah.
So we went, and that I think was the first time where we had to check our ego, because we went from being on national television,
international,
you know, being flown here and being flown out, to then being on a street corner, handing out flyers for the club.
Very humbling experience.
Yes. So, and then people asking, but what are you doing handing out flyers? ¿Ustedes qué hacen aquí haciendo esto? And or it's like, well, it's our job. Like, we just knew to just put it aside, deal with it, and start growing from there. Making new connections and putting in the work and the hours, learning how to run the board at a radio station and how music is programmed.
I don't know if you know Pacha.
El Pacha.
Okay, he was really the first guy to help us in radio when nobody would give us a chance, because we were always that annoying person, like trying to be in the studio and just learn.
Yeah.
And obviously some people don't like that, like, you know, respect the studio.
Right.
He was the only one that said, you know what, come to my show on Saturday and you can learn and observe, and you have questions.
And just sit there.
And observe. And because of that, he taught us how to put on a show and how to get into topics, and we just learned from that.
We also learned how he was in a crowd. Like, you have to learn your crowd, your audience, different cultures. Like, Dominicans are going to react a different way than Puerto Ricans, than Cubans, than Mexicans, than Salvadorians. Then there's so much.
Yeah.
We're all Latino, but we're all very different individually as a. So seeing him up on a stage when there was like the Latin Grammy festivals are right there on 32nd Street and Bergen Line Avenue, he'd get up on that stage, and the way he demanded attention and the way he would get everyone.
That's a skill set, by the way. That's a real skill set.
It was so entertaining to me, and I'm like, wow, this guy has everyone eating out of the palm out of his hands, and I'm like, I have to learn how to do that. And it was just it was such a great learning experience to just see it and learn the little quirky things he would do to get people to like have fun. Because at the end of the day, you're up there and you just want to entertain and you want people to have fun.
Was that the person that you guys looked up to, like growing up, like, I want to be like that?
No, it was a guy that we had, I remember doing the Bling Bling It was a huge reggaeton concert in Citi Field, right?
Yeah.
And just seeing him there, I think we were doing interviews for Univision. Again, this is TV. So that's how we all kind of connected. And I saw him on stage. He knew who we were. We didn't know who he was.
Okay.
And then that's where we made the connection. And he invited us to the radio station. And then we started working at the radio station. And that's how we all kind of like worked together. And so he didn't have to do that. And he was just always respectful and just taught us a lot. And then afterwards, Luis Jimenez, he created New York radio.
Legendary.
And so when he jumped onto Univision, he then requested Lulu and Lala to be part of his promotional street team for the morning show.
Love that.
He wanted us to be the ones to be out there in the streets, kind of like his eyes and ears for his show. And we told Pacha about it, and he's like, go with him. He's going to take you further.
That's good.
Because we didn't want to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
We didn't also want to make him feel like we're just ditching you because new guys here, bye. Like,
right.
So he gave us the advice. He's like, go. If he's requesting you, go be with him. You'll learn a lot more. You'll gain more experience.
Let me tell you, this man is a genius.
Yeah.
Luis Jimenez.
Luis in action, I was blown away. I had never seen anything like that. Like the way that he could just switch from one character to another and just quick with his remarks. You throw him a topic and he would just right there on the spot just either invent a song or just be snappy and witty with his words. Yeah. So entertaining.
Very clever. And that was the first time I'm like, okay, we have to take improv classes, because he was so great at improv, and he knew how to just work the room, and his co-hosts were all on the same page, and they kind of all knew how to like just jump in there or jump out or switch the topic or switch the dynamic. It was so cool.
You know, that's been my most difficult thing. So when I was on radio, because I was on Sirius XM radio, I was the co-host. So that's like the B mic, right?
Yeah.
So I was the B mic, and I'll never forget, I was interviewing Fat Joe and Remy Ma.
Love Fat Joe.
And I was so nervous. Like, I was literally on a stool, like with my mic, and I'm just like waiting to interject. You know, like there's like a pause where it can give you like a little cushion just to like ask a question. And I would be like, and I would try, nothing would come out. It was so embarrassing to the point on live radio, Fat Joe says, Alyi V, are you going to ask anything? And I was mortified. Like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said this on live radio. Like, my career is over. Because being a B mic is a thing, right? Like, to play that position, I never knew how to. Like,
I love that he did that, though, because he kind of opened it up and said, hey,
she's here too.
Like, kind of letting the host say, let her talk, let her give her point of view. So the fact that he even did that, what a compliment.
Yeah, he acknowledged your presence.
Yeah.
I did love the fact that he did acknowledge my presence. I think for me, the reason why I was always afraid to actually talk on radio was because of my accent. And the reason why I gravitate to your story was because you guys had a professor
Oh my goodness,
who
yes.
said you guys would never make it
I
on radio.
I forgot.
Yes, in
I'm
college.
like, how did we skip this whole story?
That's so
Something
true.
that we dealt with.
But how was that for you?
Well, first of all, I never thought I had an accent. Like,
I feel like you guys don't have an accent.
I have if anything, maybe a Jersey accent.
or like a tri-stadian accent.
Right.
I don't even know if that's a word.
But it wasn't until college, the professor's like, you have an accent, and
He kind of laughed. I remember that day like if it was yesterday. I don't even know what we were doing. And the whole, like he said a little joke and the whole class started laughing. And I just remember looking at
He said it in front
Lala
of the whole
like,
class?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, this is, I just remember saying, because I was always a smart ass. Like,
Okay.
you're going to be, okay. I was like, well, this is the way I talk. I'm not changing that because this is who I am. I don't even know. I never took his class ever again.
And then when we were at CBS, I remember.
No, when we were at Univision, they said, tienen acento americano. Tienen que trabajar eso.
Here we go with the accent thing. So we were too Spanish for the too English for the Spanish market and too Spanish for the English market. So it's like the part in that Selena movie.
Right.
You got to be more Mexican than the Mexicans. You got to be more American than the Americans. Here we had to be more American with the English accent. And it was just the weirdest thing for us.
But how do you
like,
combat that? Like, what do you...
Well, when we were at Univision, we started taking Spanish classes, and then, the professor was Colombian, so we started picking up the Colombian accent.
Right.
And then
by nature, not that we were mocking it, because that was another thing of self-conscious. I don't want to feel like we're mocking an accent. It's just, it sticks to me,
Right,
you know?
right.
So when we got on camera, they're like, why do you guys sound like that? And we're like, we're talking proper, right? Like, you're really trying here. And they're like, no, we like that other accent that you had. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that was you. That was like part of who you were. The fact that you had.
So scratch that, revert, go back to what you were. If we get to CBS, same thing. You're too Spanish. You got to sound a little bit more like neutral American. So, okay, I'll figure that one out. We moved to Miami. When we have our own show, you guys sound too New York. Switch up the accent. We come back from Miami.
You guys are all messed up at this point.
You sound too Miami. Bring back the New York accent. So accents have always been the subject of our, like, okay,
where are we?
What are we doing
let's figure out where we are and then switch the mode.
But was there ever a moment where you felt so frustrated where you wanted to quit this industry at all?
It wasn't quitting. It was very frustrating for us when we were at Univision because, like, por eso Dios hizo los colores, right? That's why there's different colors. Everyone likes different things. So he also made different accents, right? So that we could all learn.
I didn't understand why they couldn't appreciate
the fact that we were trying, because then you have Sofia Vergara, who has a huge accent in English, and everybody loves her. Like, at one point, she was the highest paid actress in Hollywood. So why then, if they could see her that way, couldn't the Latinos see us this way? So I felt a little
like you weren't being
upset.
Accepted.
Yeah, I felt upset with our own people at one point, like, pero why? Pero ¿por qué? Si yo también tengo acento y tú sabes, todos somos iguales.
Like, we're representing the new generation. And unfortunately, this is what it is. Like, we talk Spanish at home, but when you go to school, everything is English because we are in America. So instead of them understanding, it was very frustrating because I felt like we were not good enough for the Latin people. When I am Latin. So it was kind of sad. Like, the comments that we would receive. And back
what were
then,
some of the, like, what would they say?
Like,
they don't know how to talk. They look like clowns. Why are they on TV?
What a disgrace. They don't even speak their own language. You know, they're this, they're that. So it was just mean comments. And it would affect me more than her. Like, I would become a little insecure sometimes.
Stop reading the newspaper, stop reading the blogs. And at the time, social media didn't exist.
So it was like printouts.
It was
printouts.
And we still have those newspaper clippings, and I'm like, God, la gente es tan mala. You don't even know us. You don't know what it's taken for us to be here, and you've already judged us, and you have already formed.
But it was a reality check. We learned how to have that thick skin and understand you're not going to please everybody, so don't even try. That's their opinion, and they're entitled to that opinion, so I can't really be upset with them.
You can't take it personal.
If that's what they think, who am I to say that they're wrong? You know, that's the way they think.
Yeah.
So it was, at the beginning, it was kind of like, oh my God.
Ouch.
It was an ouch moment.
It was an ouch moment.
It was definitely an ouch moment.
But you do have to grow that thick skin in this business. You have to. And if you think that you can't, then maybe look elsewhere.
For you.
It's not for you.
It's not for you.
You will be disappointed constantly. There is a lot of rejection, auditions and this, that. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. So
what was a job that you guys really wanted but didn't get? But you guys really wanted that job.
The Doublemint commercial. I wanted to be in the Doublemint commercial because growing up, we would see it. And so there was this big audition, I remember, in Times Square. And we dressed up, in the colors of Doublemint. And we had a whole thing planned out. And then we realized...
We learned the jingle.
It was more of a promotional thing that they were doing. They already had their twins.
So it was more of like a, spectacle type of thing.
So that was kind of like...
There was this Levi's denim jacket commercial we had auditioned for.
I remember that.
And I still remember some of the lines from that commercial. I can't believe I still remember them. And I'm like, I really want it. It's Levi's, it's a big brand. Yeah. We could do this. And then you see the commercial play and it's like, I auditioned for that. Mm-hmm. Oh, she got it. Well, good for her. But I was there too.
What was a job that you were surprised that you actually got, that you did not think you were going to get?
I did not think Gordi Flaca would call us to do what we did. I mean, at all. I'm like, are you sure you want to put us on television with the way that we speak in Spanish at the time? Like, you're getting what you're getting yourself into.
But I also realized then, like, throughout our career, we've always seemed like we always tell ourselves, like, we're not good enough. Like, why couldn't we do that? You know, even you saying that now, it kind of like, it's not a trigger, but it's kind of like, I remember my thought process. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that, but we did it.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to co-host, but we did it. I'm not going to be able to do my own show, but we are. And so that's always been one of the things that we still struggle with, which is
self-doubt. And it's human nature to always be fearful of the unknown and not sure if you're going to be able to pull it off.
Or be insecure. A lot of these celebrities that you see on social media are so insecure because the pressure's
human
on.
nature. It's human nature. And if you're a perfectionist, you want to do your best and you do get in your head a lot. I know we do. Sometimes I want to like smack myself, like snap out of it, girl. Like you're overthinking things. But yes, that's one of the things that we still struggle with.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to feel insecure. It's okay to doubt yourself a little bit.
It's okay not to know what you're doing.
Right.
Because not everybody has I'm going to curse now, together all the time.
I love that you said that. I'm going to curse now. How did you get on radio? So now let's talk about that. Let's talk about that transition.
Well, yeah. So then we were with Louie doing the promotional thing. We did street teaming for like 7 years, out on the streets, handing out flyers, T-shirts, doing remotes and all that.
And as you know, for those who don't know, being a street teamer, you're not getting paid a ton of money.
No.
You're getting minimum pay, and you're out there doing the stuff that you don't want to do. But you are the ears and eyes of the radio station. You know what's popping, and you're supposed to feed that back to your PD or your promotions director. And after 7 years of being
that and putting blood, sweat, and tears into
7 years.
7 years of street team and doing jobs of an on-air talent as well.
Okay.
We thought we were going to get promoted. Like, this is our moment. They've recognized the hard work. We're finally going to be promoted to full-time.
Benefits are coming.
And we did not.
They did the opposite. They demoted us to freelance, not even part-time.
Jeez.
So it was kind of like a step back. And that's where we realized.
Well, that's when we told ourselves, we're done. Like, we need to
the normal
value
person
ourselves.
That's it.
That's it.
It would have been over.
Yeah.
And we thanked Univision because, we did learn a lot from that experience, but it was time to move on.
That's when we realized it was time to move on. And, there was always a fear of like, is there life after Univision? Because that's all we had known. And yes, there was, because honestly, we had the best luck that day. you know, we say our goodbyes. We, you know, hand in our key card and stuff. And maybe about 2 hours later, we get a phone call. The same day. We get a phone call from...
That's insane.
The program director from CBS, 92.3 Now at the time, saying, hey...
That is so bizarre.
Sorry you were let go, but would you want to do mornings here with us? We have a new host. He's auditioning co-host, and we'd love for you to audition for him.
How the hell did that news get around that quick?
I don't know. That's funny.
we never understood, like, how... Like, is there something that was leaked?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, was there inside source where, like, we're gonna let them go? Here, you can pick them. Like, that's.
I have
weird.
no idea. But
okay, but
I
that's
think when
good,
God
though.
is on your side, He's on your side, and
correct.
all the hard work and experience, it doesn't happen.
Right.
You don't do the crossover within a day, within hours.
Within hours.
And we did. And so we auditioned and we got it. And so we were co-hosting at CBS for 2 years.
From doing morning shows.
And how was that? How did it?
It was...
I mean, there was a difference, I'm sure.
It was a difference.
Our host was scared.
We were scared, yeah.
We came from a Latin. So we had the fans of the Latin market, but now are we going to be accepted in general market? Are they going to...
like us? Are we going to be relatable? Are people going to tune in to hear us? And Ty Bentley was the main host, and forever grateful for him because he chose us. Out of all the other girls he auditioned, he chose us too.
But it was scary because you don't know how the people are going to react to you.
Right.
And
well, how did they react?
They loved us.
Yeah.
They did. They loved us. Some followed along. You know, they stopped hearing Univision and followed us to 92.3.
Loyal listeners. I love that.
Listeners.
That was pretty...
And it was a fun dynamic, actually, because Ty Bentley came from South Dakota.
Very, you know, white American. We're the Latin people from the tri-state. And then you had our producer, Jason.
And then we had Brian, who was the phone op. He was gay. And it was just like one big happy family. And we all learned so much from each other's backgrounds. Like Brian would tell us about his gay dates that he had.
We would compare our dates.
And even growing up, like with the strict parents, and then Ty being, you know, American and growing up very American, he didn't know what baby perfume was, and I remember that being a big topic. Like you don't know what like colonia, like the hello. And then Jason, the producer, he was black, and you know he told us about how he like it was just. I remember good times only on being on that show. It was such a great chemistry that we all had. But then again, there was also sometimes disconnect because of the cultures that's actually something we learned while being co-host. We were very sheltered, and our strict upbringing, we were sometimes scared to really say what we felt because, oh my God, ¿qué va a pensar mami? ¿Qué va a pensar tía?
That's a big thing in the culture.
¿Qué va a pensar la gente in general? So if Ty Bentley was talking about sex or something and he would ask for my opinion as a female, I would want to say it, but then I wouldn't at the end of the day, and it would frustrate him. And sometimes we would have arguments because it's like you're not being genuine. Listeners could read off of that, and then you lose them.
Because I never wanted to disappoint my parents and say or put them in a bad light, right? And so we would always be careful with what we would say. But because of that, but then we weren't being authentic.
That's so funny. I actually do that on this show a lot. Like I feel like I make my mom sound awful. Like I'm always like, oh my God, I had this strict mom. She kicked me out, and I'm like, and I'm always having to apologize. Like, oh my God, I'm like making if my mother hears the show, she's gonna beat my ass.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I also feel like she was the coolest mom for that, and that's just like how we grew up. But I'm always like hesitant as to how much do I share.
Right.
So that's always been my battle.
You don't want to hurt their feelings.
I don't.
Because my parents were too strict. In my opinion.
What's too strict?
We weren't allowed to have boyfriends until we were 18 years of age. We could never sleep over anybody's house ever. Not even cousins.
You came up with a list.
Not even cousins. I think in my whole life, I only slept over my cousin's house.
Twice.
And that's your cousin, so you couldn't even sleep over friends' house.
Absolutely not. Don't even think about it.
There was no dorming going to college.
Were you allowed to go out for lunch?
No. She would pick us up every time for lunch.
Oh my God.
We were not allowed to go to any football games, any baseball games.
Any dances.
Did you go to prom?
Halloween parties?
We went to prom, but for junior year, we had to go by ourselves.
Right.
And then for senior year, you know, he picked us up and then he would drop us off. There's no telly. There's no going anywhere else.
No after parties.
There's no
nothing.
after parties.
Wow.
We had a curfew of like, and this was, ya estamos vieja. Ya estamos viejita. I'm like, why am I putting up with this? I'm 21 years old.
Damn, that's vieja.
But you know, if you're still living under your parents' roof, then it is their rules and you just got to do with it. If not, it is what it is. And we were always respectful of it. We could have rebelled so many times and we didn't. I don't know why.
Even to this day now.
What about your brother? Did he get some leeway?
My brother, the thing is that my brother is a lot older than us. So he got married and he's with his wife and his kids in Pennsylvania. So he really wasn't there when like I started dating my first boyfriend, you know? But we couldn't do like, I don't even know how we lasted so long.
Why?
Because I could not, going out on a date with him was merely impossible because it's like, well, ya son las 10, ¿a dónde estás? All up in the business.
Clocking.
Third wheeling it. I did a lot of third wheeling, you know.
Oh my God.
So, to his defense, even though I'm not defending him.
Even to this day, right?
Not till this day.
For my boyfriend, if my boyfriend lives in Miami, when he comes to see me, he can't stay at my house. He has to stay in a hotel. And I can't stay at the hotel with him.
No way.
I mean, I find ways around it, obviously, because I'm a grown-ass adult.
Right.
But I'll do it in a way where, like, I don't want to disrespect my parents, so I don't want to rub anything in their face.
It's that fear. I'm telling you, I still fear my mother.
It's not.
So I fear my mom.
I think it's the fear of letting them down.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Correct. You're right about that.
We know everything that they've done to give us the life that we have. And so to disappoint them is big.
Yeah.
At least for me it is. So, you know, when I was 20, I could get it. We're 20. When you're 20, you're young and dumb and you think you know what you're doing. You think you know what you want, but really you kind of don't still. But now that I'm a little older, obviously they've backed off and they really can't tell me anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll tell you regardless.
But
then you know, okay, so, you know, it's the okay. Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
Are you ladies like into the same type of guys?
No.
You said that very strongly.
No, it's I've never really had a type. I think I've just been open to anything. I don't discriminate. I'll take it. I'll take anything. You know,
ditto.
I don't. She does though. She used to.
I used to.
She used to.
I used to like the light eyes, like Chris Evans or like Paul Rudd. Again, light eyes to me are so sexy.
Yeah.
But sometimes what you like isn't good for you.
Right.
And so you gotta switch gears.
Really?
So you gotta switch gears.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So now I'm good.
Yeah.
I have my boyfriend as well, and so
yeah.
Okay. Do they ever confuse you guys?
No, my boyfriend's a singer, so he is the background vocalist.
Artist. There's a lot of creativity.
Right? He's the background vocalist for Luis Fonsi. He is a musician himself, and he has his own music out and stuff. And when I met him, I was like, finally, a guy that understands the business that I'm in. I understand what he does. He's not the jealous type, and he just gets it. He lets me do my thing. He does his own thing, and like it's all worked out. But I think from the very beginning, my boyfriend knew the difference between my sister and I. He just always had it. Even the first picture that we ever took, he's actually leaning more towards me than to my sister.
And when they met, I just remember. I mean, I'm the twin here, so it gets to go through me.
You're right,
So I just remember looking at the whole dynamic, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is.
You were sizing him up, like
I was like, this is it. This is the one.
You knew. I knew immediately.
That's another thing. Since we do work together and we live together, we're always together. So the guy that's with us has to get along with my sister. Like you have to like just know that she's there.
The bond is even tighter and stronger. So it's like. Don't try to come in between this because you're going to lose and you're going to lose bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Both of our ex-boyfriends would try to do that. And I'm like, this isn't why.
Sometimes I wouldn't understand, like, why did you just text? Like, why are you texting her? You were just with her. And I'm like, hold up. Slow your roll there. I got to text her because maybe I have something to tell her. Like, don't.
That's your sister.
Yeah. Like, don't do that.
That's weird. What was the longest time you guys ever spent without? Like
I got really sick when we moved to Miami.
No, 2 months.
2 months?
I got really sick. I had to be flown back to Jersey, and I was hospitalized. I got like my tonsils had to be. It was just really bad to the point it almost got to my heart.
Oh my God!
And I just was really bad, and that's the longest time that we've been apart.
Yeah, I was. We had just moved to Miami, so I'm in Miami alone without my twin, doing a new show.
Oh my God!
And then knowing I'm in Florida and my twin sister is almost dying. Like, what am I gonna do with myself? Like, I am. Like I can't function if she's not there. It's weird.
Yeah. So it's like a feeling. I can see that.
Yeah. So it was.
That's been the longest. Now the longest we've been mad at each other for dumb reasons.
I want to say a week.
Yeah.
A week.
Like
we go a week without talking or just being very like, hi, okay, let's just do what we have to do.
Bye. Bye, bitch.
Yeah. Don't even.
Let me tell you how messed up, again, my family was. Me and my sister Jessica, we would fight. I remember we had this one fight, like actual like fight, like fist fight? Like fist fight.
Oh my goodness.
My family, instead of like separating us, no.
They were there with the phones, like,
they were betting. I got $10 on Allie. I got 20 on Jesse. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? My sister changes into a sports bra. I'm like,
oh, she was ready to go.
She thought she was Ali. She was ready. She was ready to fight me. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? My sister punched me so
oh my
bad.
Goodness.
So bad. Like literally straight, like in the nose. I started bleeding. I could not believe this.
How did it like work its out? Like, how did it end?
We had a dog, Buddy. I'll never forget this Yorkie that we had. And I was always afraid of this. It was weird because I'm like the louder one of my sisters, so I was always like I'm like all talk, so I'm like and the dog came like just barking, coming at me, was biting me. Fight over. I'm like, I'm not fighting you, I'm done, it's over. After maybe like 3 days, she apologizes like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, you literally broke my nose. Like, I can't talk to you anymore.
And now I bet you guys laugh at it now.
We do. And to this day, like, if we ever have like any sort of differences, she's like, you know, I'll beat your ass, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
they reference it back to that.
Because that's a triggering moment. I'm like, don't bring me back to that moment.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever like fought?
Fist fight? Like when we were younger, maybe we'd be like, you know, pinch each other and stuff, but not
I feel
really.
Like there's love here though.
But
she got really mad at me when I went skydiving.
You went skydiving?
So I have always wanted to do skydiving, and I always told Lulu, let's go skydiving. It's gonna be so much fun. Oh my God, just like a bird, we're gonna be flying. She's like, over my dead body. We are never doing this. Over my dead body. Tell me this bitch goes skydiving without me. And you know how I found out? She sends me the video of her jumping out of the plane.
Hold up. Let me explain, though. You're not
She
giving
has
the
a
full
story.
count.
Let her explain.
Okay, so when you're in a relationship, right? Sometimes you want to do stuff with your partner. And I understood that, yes, I was wrong. I should have at least given her a heads up and say, hey, by the way, this is what I'm doing. I know you said you want to do this, but I'm not going to start arguing with my boyfriend because of something that, you know, between us. Like, there's a fine line between.
Correct.
And so that's why I went skydiving, because he was like
there's a triggering moment here.
A skydiving junkie. So I did it. And I could have not said anything and kept it to myself.
Right.
But I'm like, no, let me be fair. I know she's going to be upset with me, but I got to tell her. And so I understood why she was mad. You had every single right to be mad, but understood that I'm not going to start arguing with my boyfriend over this. Like, there's a fine line there. Like, you got to pick and choose. Although I shouldn't.
There's a healing moment right here. There's a healing moment right here.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. You didn't want to start a fight with your boyfriend or whatever. But you fought with me.
It's
you fought with me not to do it.
It's a different fight when it's a different dynamic, though.
It is a different fight.
Yeah,
I would have to agree.
I get it. I understand it now, but it was. You didn't apologize to me like that at first, which made it. You just added salt to the wound.
I was like,
you just added salt to the wound.
Skydiving.
But yeah, I get it. Like, whatever, it is what it is. I got to bungee jump, so take that.
Can we please talk about this, because I don't even understand how you guys even do this.
Oh, I'm not scared of heights. Yeah. I'm not scared of anything really. Besides
disappointing mom.
Fire. Besides fire, I'm scared of fire. I won't
Fire is definitely a fear to have, and I'm also afraid of like drowning.
Oh, can you swim? Or no, you can't swim.
I could.
But not as like if you're stuck in a current or something.
I could literally jump off a yacht and be fine. But like, let's say if a boat, something happens to like a speedboat, and I'm like, it's
in the middle of the ocean
unexpectedly, then I'm like, oh,
you're panicking.
Yeah, I'm panicking. And with water, you can't panic. You actually have to stay calm. You guys did the most daring thing ever. First of all, bungee jumping.
Yes, it was on The Amazing Race.
That's what I'm saying.
It was a lot of fun.
For me, I wouldn't even do the show because I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh, see, the opposite.
I recommend it.
I think The Amazing Race is one of the best experiences that I have ever had. I think for anyone that wants to be on it, go for it. You're not only traveling the world and you're getting to see different cultures and countries that maybe you probably won't visit because it's probably not your first pick.
Or within your budget, because let's be real, with everything going up, it's expensive to travel.
But you get to do so many fun things. Like,
wait, how did they? Can you just take me back? Like how they contacted you?
They did. They contacted us, and it all went down on the DM.
Yeah, they reached out to us on Instagram
during Christmas, like 3 years ago, because. Yeah, 3 years ago. So it is a process. Like, we still had to audition. We still had to go in front of the producers. Like, it's a process.
They do a whole psych test on you.
Really?
They do a physical as well, just to make sure that there's nothing wrong with your heart or your brain, or you're not going to, die in the middle of it.
Correct.
And they need to know that you're in the right state of mind, because the anxiety that you go through is like no other.
And the challenges too, that it tests you. You're running, and sometimes the stress gets the best of you, and they have to know that you're gonna be
like,
you're not gonna go wacky.
It's just a game. I mean, there's $1 million.
But at no point one of you ladies said, hey, I don't think this show is for me.
No, I thought the opposite.
like, no.
We have to do this. This is so much fun. Like, what do we have to lose? Oh, so if we get kicked out, then we get kicked out. We didn't win the game, which is kind of what happened. But we got pretty far. We placed 5th in the race. But one of the challenges was to do the
bungee jump.
The bungee jump. It was the highest bungee jump in Europe off of a dam. And when I found out that I had to do that, I was so excited. I couldn't
so jealous. I was like, damn it.
I couldn't get there fast
I would be like, no, you do it, not me. You were jealous.
I wanted to bungee jump because I had never bungee jumped. And I'm like, if I don't do it now, I don't see another point in my life where I'm going to bungee jump.
But you skydived, okay? So this was totally up my alley.
Okay, please just walk me through this part, because my heart is beating for you.
I think I was more nervous for her, and she was the one jumping, because I saw her actually take the leap, and you see, the string flying down. That thing can snap. And I'm like, am I going to watch my sister?
Yeah, see, but I was just
to her death.
I was so excited. They're strapping you on, and I was making sure they're really checking the straps.
Yeah.
Plus, it's television, so they have to make sure they cross their T's and dot their I's. They're strapping me on. They're telling me everything that I have to do. Once I jump off, you have to look for this rope so you could pull yourself up, so you could sit up. So you're not hanging there for a while. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. And I told myself, do not hesitate, because the moment you hesitate is the moment you won't do it. Just jump and keep your eyes open, because I wanted to remember that moment. I wanted to remember everything I saw. And if I die, at least I know what I saw,
Oh my God.
And it was the most freeing experience. Like, I literally felt like a bird. I had my eye, I had a camera here, and I was just looking at everything. I'm like, this is what birds feel like. This is so cool.
well, she was
so cool.
This magical moment within herself. I was freaking out, because you look down and it is so, it's just so.
It's deep in there. It's not water. It's rocks.
There's no water. So I'm like, oh my God, if this thing snaps, I'm jumping. We came in this world. We're going to leave together.
Right. That was your first initial thought.
I've always been, I'm not really scared of heights. I'm not really scared of much.
Oh my God. But I'm jealous.
Seeing her, and I have no control here. I have no control of what's happening. And I just have to sit there and just watch. I think that to me was like a new feeling that I'm like, I'm not used to this.
She's actually the alpha out of the both of us. She's more of the dominant one. She depends on me, depending on her.
So to see that and not be able to have an input or anything,
it was hard for her.
It was very hard. The first time my hands ever shake, where I can't control them, was that moment.
It's a good thing you didn't jump then because you needed to have control.
But see, with jump, I would have been fine because I'm in control.
Right. But then she would have been like, if something happens to her, I got to jump in.
I feel like she would have been like, go ahead, jump. I'll wait for you.
Probably. No, because because we were very adventurous. We're very athletic too. So we're really, like my dad always did a great job at like teaching us things that we needed. You have to learn how to change a tire. Don't depend on a man to do it. You have to know how to swim and swim good because if something happens, at least you know how to defend yourself.
You
have to know how to do
survival skills.
Yeah. Change the oil in your car. You got to know how to do that too. So he always taught us to do that. And mom would teach us stuff like learn how to iron stuff. And although she didn't teach us how to cook, that I cannot do.
That's the one thing that I don't like either.
Right?
Like I know how to cook, but not the way my mom cooked. And my mom was a cook.
I can't.
And that's
You know what it is? I hate mess. I'm like super OCD when it comes to like everything organized. And so when you cook, there's like un reguero por todo, and you have to wash. I'll wash the dishes, but then like I just can't. And then your hands get all
Thanksgiving
sticky.
for you guys, are you guys like helping out in the kitchen? Or are you guys like, oh, I'll just come with
clean
my
after.
Go buy the turkey or a pernil.
Right, because there's both for us.
Because there's both.
Yeah.
And then I'll clean up. But I'm not going to put nothing in no oven to cook anything. Unless they're brownies or like a cute little cake. Okay.
Yeah, I like to clean better. Like I'd rather clean, do laundry, fold socks or whatever, put it away.
I find it to be therapy for me.
Than to cook. I'll let my boyfriend, you cook.
Yeah.
I'll clean.
Oh, I have a quick question, quick answer for you guys. What are you guys going to be for Halloween?
That was the no. So there's two. I want us to be Silk Sonic. So I'll be Anderson .Paak,
Bruno Mars,
or different eras of Rihanna.
Just because since she's performing at Super Bowl, you know, she can have the short hair, and I could have like another type of like, you know, go through the different albums.
Yes.
And do that type of thing. That's what we were thinking. Last year, we were Dumb and Dumber. You know,
I like
the orange and blue.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to be for?
I have no idea. I was Frida last year. Then the year before that, I was Carolina Herrera.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out. I'm not sure.
We like to have fun I love Halloween. We like to have fun with the costumes. Like, yes, one year we'll be sexy, but the other years, like,
you gotta have that goofy, like,
fun and like not be. I mean, it's one thing to like, be sexy, and this is where you could show skin and kind of get away with it. But lately, I've been wanting to do like goofy, like fun things,
outrageous type of. I remember one time in the Village, there was a guy that dressed up as a Metro card, and I thought that was very clever. I was
that's genius. Or have you seen that CVS costume where the guy's dressed as a CVS receipt and it's like never ending?
Amazing.
Or the blue check mark from Instagram, like you're
verified. I would love that because you know, like growing up, you know. It was Halloween, not Dia de los Muertos, but my mom did a really good job at like actually creating the costumes. Like she would actually sew the costumes. I remember one time me and my sister, we were Headless Ghost, and I thought that was pretty cool. We were like Queen of Hearts, but this year I don't know. And I'm kind of like late on it. Like I'm like, what should I be?
It was the opposite for us. Growing up, we never dressed like Halloween.
We didn't really do anything for Halloween. We never. Like, we didn't
Did you guys go trick or treating or anything? Or
no.
We didn't really celebrate Halloween. I think because it was like
the devil,
and then the candy. You never know like
what's good.
Even to this day, you don't know what's in. Like you see so many like fentanyl like mixed in with the candy. Yeah. So my mom was very scared to like, you know, one little candy could like kill us or whatever. So, and again, since we always danced and we were always in costumes, it wasn't a big deal for me. I'm like, all right, whatever. Cool.
But then as you got older, it's like, we could have fun with it.
Like, I'm a big kid now. Like,
yeah. So. And then I saw it on the gram for you guys, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're going to be for Halloween.
Yeah, that's what
we're thinking. I don't know.
I love the Rihanna one.
Right?
Yeah.
I really love that one. I feel like it's very much like with the times now.
Yeah. We'll see.
Oh, you guys have to post it, and then I'm going to post it.
But we haven't done any, like, we haven't even looked for anything. So
no?
I don't know if I'll even get to do that. Maybe we'll end up buying, like, a generic costume, like a pirate or something.
No, we did pirate already
or
for,
something.
Like,
but
decades.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see what we do.
Yeah. We'll have to stop by one of those abracadabra stores and...
that are so super packed right now at this time.
The line is ridiculous.
No, you guys have to get creative now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Go to Michael's and create our own.
What does it mean to you guys, like being a Latina? What does that mean?
To me, being a Latina is like unity, like family unit. Like,
well, family comes to mind as
family
the first
always
thing that
comes to mind.
And like, we're freaking powerful, man. We got that sass. We got that fierce in us. You know, knowing what my dad went through to get here and knowing what my mom went through to get here. And then they got here and they, you know, paid their dues. They became citizens. They've paid their taxes and stuff like that. Like, we're a strong force to be reckoned with. So
So I guess if I have to like name, like, Latina to me means family, strength, and
just hardworking people.
We are.
Yeah. No, you guys are very hardworking. What's one stereotype in this community that you would like to see no longer exist? Because there's a lot for us.
I gotta think about this one.
It's one of those questions that you should think. This is a thinking question.
I guess it depends which side are we talking about. Like if they like,
well, that's a good one. Maybe you could do both.
That, you know, the stereotype for Cubans are that they're loud, and it's a stereotype, but it's the truth. Though we are loud. You know, we talk loud and we're very emotional with our hands, and that's because that's who we are. We are very emotional people, and we like to, you know, boom, be right in your face. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I don't think that is a bad stereotype. I think that's what it is, and I see the positive side of that.
Right.
We emote, and so there's nothing wrong with that. What else did they say about Cubans? Do you know? What are the stereotypes?
No, I mean, I would say for me, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. So for me, one of the biggest stereotypes is, oh my God, you're Puerto Rican and Dominican and you live in the Bronx? Oh, you must be crazy. That was like the biggest stereotype, and it really bothered me. It really, really bothered me.
So you answer back, yeah, I am crazy. Crazy about my culture and who the hell I am.
I like that.
Yeah. Ooh, I am crazy. Crazy about myself. I'm thinking stereotypes. I don't like to, you know, with everything that's going on and stuff, when people say that, you know, Latinos can sometimes be lazy or we're just here and we're taking over, like, you know, that I don't like. Because, yes, you know, we do, but we do work hard for what we have. And sometimes we do the jobs that people don't want to do. So rather than criticizing that, why don't you look at, like,
who's cleaning your toilet?
And who's, you know, mowing your lawn and stuff like that.
Who's making sure your garden looks nice, you know? That's not easy. In the cold, it's not easy. In the hot weather, it's not easy. And so it's kind of like, you know, that's a stereotype right there. Or you're Mexican, oh, so you're going to be doing my lawn? Or you're going to be, people say that. And although there might be some truth to the stereotype,
it's not all like that.
It's not all like that, and I don't think it has to be a negative. I always like to see things as a positive. Yeah, we do dominate in the lawn mowing, landscaping industry.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, what spaces do you want to see us as Latinas occupy?
I think women in general right now are at a high. I think that we have fought very hard to be respected in the industry,
and being able to have the opportunity to,
when it comes to the pay. I do feel because you know, there's a lot of men, and I love my men. There's a lot of men out there that are making double or even triple than a woman, and they're doing the same exact job, maybe even better. No offense, but I do feel like in the paid, in the wages, we still need to see an even
some changes in the wages. There need to be some changes.
Some changes there. But yeah, I do feel like we are finally being recognized.
We're the strong gender here.
Yeah, you are.
Without women.
I don't like to emasculate men either. I feel like men should be men, and they do a great job in whatever it is, in whatever field they do. But I feel like everyone should have the same type of respect when it comes to whatever field they're working in. And there should be a fair balance.
What's next for you guys? Because I feel like there's so many layers.
Yes. So we have began to like do research on, we have land in El Salvador, and we want to build a school. We kind of want to do like what Shakira did in Colombia, or what Pitbull has done in Miami, where he's opened up schools and stuff like that.
In the area that we have land in, there's really no school for like autistic kids or people with disability. You have to go to the capital, and it's a long ride, and a lot of people in that area cannot
afford to even live in the capital.
So we're trying to work out how we can build a school there for those that are less fortunate and with disabilities that can't get the education that they deserve because of, you know, the disabilities that they might have.
And they're not being resources for it.
Yeah.
So that is something that we're looking forward in doing. There's a few other things, but I don't want to put it out there yet because it's not.
You can't say it, but put that energy out there at least.
Yes, but there is a different project that I've been wanting to do for the longest time, and we're getting, you know,
I feel like you guys need a book. Do you guys have a book? Am I not aware of a book? Because I feel like a book.
That's something that we would like to do, but like a children's book.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I like that. A children's book.
Yes.
That would be really dope.
So.
Okay.
That's definitely something. You nailed one of them.
Okay. All right.
But there's like two other things that we really want to do. And
I actually mentioned the title of it within our conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Now I got to rewind it back.
But hopefully it happens. You know, everything takes time.
It will happen.
And we just want to do it the right way.
That people, at least the youth, I don't want to say that I'm old here because I'm still youthful, but I feel like the people that are coming up now, patience is something that we need to learn. I remember when we started our career, we were like, when am I going to get my big break? When is this going to happen for me? And I feel like God does things in a way where when it's time for you, it's going to be there for you. It's your time. And so enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process. Because it's easy to get to the top really fast. Yeah. It's maintaining yourself at the top.
That's the hardest.
That's the hardest part. And the loneliest part, too. So you could easily fall back down. So just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. And I think back now to all those times we were doing
stressful moments and the
being cold out there and handing out the flyers and you just dealing with so much. And those were happy times now that I think of it. Like I was having fun
at the moment. We were stressing. Yeah. But now you think back and I'm like, this really wasn't stress, you know?
Well, it adds to the story.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds to like the come up and like your humble beginnings. Because I know like you've been bungee jumping, skydiving. What's some of the things that are on like your to-do list before you die?
I definitely want to travel more. I feel like, I was talking to Mom about this the other day. I feel like the world is where it's at because people really don't know. They're surrounded only in the like, little area that they grew up in. They don't know how the outsiders, you know, how people live in Switzerland, in El Salvador, in South America somewhere, and you know, like it's the cultures are so different, and so
for us to be able to understand one another, sometimes you need to go out there and understand what's out there.
Travel, even outside of New York City. Go down to Florida, go to South Dakota, go to, you know, Texas. It's a whole different mindset. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And we've been blessed to be able to travel, not as much as we'd like, but we have been able to travel.
And you get to see different perspective, like why people think the way that they think and where is it coming from. So you're like, okay, I get why they're like that. I get why they're saying this.
I understand it. Right. Even if you don't agree, you understand the mindset. And I feel like that's definitely something I want to keep doing, traveling.
What about you?
Well, I eventually, yes, traveling and do those 3 projects that we are, you know, started to work on. But I also see myself one day getting married.
Oh, of course.
Maybe popping out a puppy or 2.
Definitely.
Although, like, I've never been that type of woman to, like, oh my God, clock is ticking. I have to get married by a certain age and I have to have, like, 3 kids.
Right.
If I have kids, I have them. If I don't, well, then I don't. It just
wasn't meant to me. Is there any pressure from, like, your parents, like, you guys need to have kids now?
Yeah, you know, their worry is, like, I want the day that my mom is like, you know, the day that I die, I want to make sure that you're, like, in good hands, and you're not. And I get that, because if one day if I have kids, I'm probably gonna want the same thing.
Yeah.
But I've done pretty well for myself. I have a great job. I have great credit.
I feel like that's a big important part.
I don't depend on a man. Although I do have my boyfriend. He does help a lot, and he's doing great on his own thing. So together we're good. But if God forbid, that relationship doesn't work, I'm good standing on my own.
That's
so. Yes, I do want a family and I do want to get married, but it's nothing that I'm in a rush or I have a deadline.
Right.
I think
I don't want to rush something.
I don't want to rush it, but I do want to be able to dance with my dad. That's the one thing I'm like, no, I would have liked for my grandmother to have been at my wedding. Fortunately, she passed away. So that really bothers me.
Yeah.
But one thing I definitely want is I want to be able to dance with my dad at my wedding. So it can't be too far in the future.
No, that's powerful.
But it can't
I feel
be,
that.
Yeah. And that's the old school in us right there.
No, that's because I didn't grow up with my dad, and I'm always like, when I get married, I want my mom to walk me down the aisle. And I'm telling my mother, like, Ma, you got to hold on. She's like, well, you need to hurry up. I'm like, no, you need to hold on. Don't rush me.
So it's kind of that balance where, like, I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, I do know that they are getting older, and I would definitely to have that.
It's hard in this business to actually find someone to like understand what you do and be supportive of it and not be jealous in any way. So that's why I never wanted to rush anything. Like I see people that have rushed to get married and then unfortunately it doesn't work out. So it's like, was it worth it? If you would have been just a little patient and actually really found someone that understood you and understood your passion, maybe things would have worked out. But
you gotta let time take its course, So I get it.
Yeah.
All right, last question. You ready?
Yes.
One at a time, because you guys...
We talk over each other.
But I love it. All right, let's start with you.
Yes.
Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina. Okay, and you?
Pero like, why?
Pero like, why?
Pero like, why? I always say that to my mom when she's like giving me like una frase en español. I'm like, pero like, why can't you just tell me what you really mean instead of giving me this little lecture you're giving me? Just tell me what it is. Pero like, why? I feel like that is like everybody who's Latino says that, pero like
why?
Pero like,
or even just talking with the hands, like, what do you mean? Like,
I always do that. My thing is always like, lo que pasó fue. I'm always saying that. My mother be like, what happened? I'm like, porque lo que pasó fue, and she's like, just stop speaking Spanish. Lulu and Lala, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
This was great.
Hope it was entertaining.
It was.
I
love you guys.
Reminiscent of like
everything we've been through. So thank you for taking us on that journey.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
This story was super inspiring. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on social media.
Yes.
Always with the plug at Lulu y Lala.
Do it. Drop the plug. Is Lulu and Lala everywhere, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hola. If you like this episode of Growing Up Latina, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share. And don't be afraid to slide in my DM and leave a little comment. I'm always reposting. Thank you.